Hello there everyone, welcome back to the channel and for another episode of the Anime Podcast Show. Let's move on to the first segment of the show, as normal, with new interest in anime. It's basically a series was released in between from 2022 to the present day, or it's even I was interested to take a look at during post-COVID era. We're taking an approach into a franchise it's been around for almost 50 years, and that would be Mobile Suit Gundam. The Gundam franchise traces its origin back to the late 1970s, where it began as an ambition concept that started to break out from the conventional super robot shows that had become popular in Japan, rather than focusing on over-the-top fictional battles with larger-than-life heroes. Gundam aimed to introduce a more grounded and realistic approach to a mecha genre, incorporating complex narratives about war, politics, and the human condition. Developed by the re-owned animation studio Sunrise, the series was initially conceived under the working title Freedom Fighter Gunboy, which would focus on the story of a young protagonist fighting for justice in a war-torn future. The show was targeted primarily at teenage boys, aiming to present a more mature and thoughtful take on the genre. However, Gundam faces numerous obstacles, including budget constraints and skepticism from both the network and the audience. Despite these challenges, the series became a groundbreaking success, paving the way for what would become one of the most influential franchises in anime history. Over the years, Gundam expanded far beyond its original series, spanning an array of sequels, spin-offs, movies, novels, and even a highly successful line of model kits. Each iteration of Gundam built upon its core themes of war and humanity, while also introducing new character settings and technology inventions. Today, Gundam has evolved into a global cultural phenomena with a devout fan base spanning generations, making it not only a cornerstone of a mecha genre, but also a symbol of anime's global reach and enduring influence. Anyway, what was my interest with the Gundam franchise? Anyway, well, it's a long story, so this is where it all started. It goes way back in 2017. When I was first discovering about Toonami, I had no idea such a beloved franchise like Gundam exists, especially after its massive success with Gundam Wing. As I dug deeper, I realized that the franchise expanded far beyond that, with the series that, like the original series, Gundam Seed, and several feature films that was aired on Adult Swim. I didn't fully discover this until in 2023, when I learned that Netflix had a newer Gundam films, and I knew I had to check it out. Initially, I didn't dive deep into it right away, but I did manage to get my hands on a copy of an out-of-print Gundam Wing DVD collection, which was really cool to own, and to this day, I still have it. So by 2023, I finally decided to explore Gundam's enormous catalog and figure out where to kick things off with. But it was a tough decision to make. But I eventually started with Gundam RE0096, also known as Gundam Unicorn in Japan. After that, I took a pause before tackling to Gundam Build Divers. Around this time, Gundam Seed Freedom was released, and I was encouraged to watch Gundam Seed, but struggled to get into it. I didn't know much about this version of Gundam, but when the English dub cast was announced for Freedom, I was surprised. Then, just days later, my birthday arrived in 2024, and I finally got to watch it. Even though I had seen it, but I want to experience it again. I really enjoyed it. Despite there having no English option, watching it in Japanese was a great experience. And I love the original cast. The cast who were a part of the original Gundam series and Destiny come back for the Freedom movie, so that was freaking awesome. Especially considering that it had been in development since 2006, when the original series ended its run. One last thing before I move on. Back in 2018, during Anime Expo, it was announced that a Gundam live-action movie was in the works by Legendary Pictures. Then in 2021, it was revealed that the film would be released by Netflix. But in 2024, it was announced instead of going to Netflix, it's going to go back to movie cinemas. So that is good. So that's definitely the most looking forward to take a look at for any live action properties. And then just recently, as of this recording this in February of 2025, it was announced that the feature film for Gundam, let me take it up. It says here that the live action Gundam movie, titled Gundam, has been officially announced. Bandai Namco Filmworks and Legendary Entertainment are co-producing the film. That's the only information that I got. So, by the time of this video comes out, I bet we're going to get some more information for the live action. So, well, that was my interest with the Gundam franchise. Now let's move on to the next segment, and that would be Topic of the Week segment. We are drawn into a world of missing something with these franchises. Well, I mean, a missed potential opportunity of storytelling needs to be told, such as in movies, OVAs, etc. in sequels. So I'm here to talk about a missed potential sequels in anime. So we have a top 5 list, and let's get to it. So at number 5, I want to start off with a series that everyone knows as one of the biggest impactful series of all time. And that would be Berserk. So why Berserk had missed a potential opportunity? Well, the glaring missed opportunity is the series' failure to fully adapting the manga. The 1997 anime only covers a portion of the Golden Age arc, leaving the Conviction arc and beyond untouched. Even within the Golden Age arc, significant moments from the manga were either rushed or alternate the whole story. Berserk is a deeply narrative, and skipping parts of the story and alternate them for pacing the entire thing from emotional in-depth, character development, and theme exploration that fans of the manga were accustomed to. The 1997 anime ends on a cliffhanger right after the events of the dramatic Eclipse event. Where Guts witnessed Griffith's betrayal, this ending was controversial because it left viewers without closure, especially considering that the manga written by Kenshiro Miura continued for decades after the anime aired. The anime's ending is a major missed opportunity to properly conclude the story or at least expand for another season with the aftermath of the eclipse and the consequences for Guts and Casca. The anime's decision to end here left fans with more questions than answers. And many felt it was kind of like a deliberate setup for more adaptation that never came. Finally, a significant missed opportunity is simply the fact that the Berserk anime is incomplete. The manga, which is much longer and richer, and continued to develop the story long after the series ended. This left the anime series feeling like only a small chapter in a much larger narrative. Fans who watched the original series without knowing the source material were left with many unanswered questions. Now let's move on to a series, what I've known for years, in number 4, and that would be Rurouni Kenshin. I know everything's been adapted except for one arc, and that would be the finale arc or the Jinchuku arc. It never got adapted. Well, first of all, it missed potential opportunities was the anime's abrupt ending before the Jinchuku arc began, which is one of the most important and emotional changes in the manga. The arc explores themes of revenge, guilt, and redemption, bringing a significant conclusion to Kenshin's journey. However, in the 90s anime concluded with the primarily prematurely after the Kyoto arc, leaving fans with a resolution of Kenshin's past struggles, as well as an emotional payoff to the Jinchuku conflict. This lack of closure for both the character and story felt like an unfinished chapter. The anime's focus on the early parts of Kenshin's story, while engaging doesn't full development into the growth of key characters. The Jinchuku arc is crucially for further development of Kenshin's inner struggle, particularly his feelings, and of course, in his past, has become the assassin, and then of course he got married throughout of it. But to be honest, in that growth moment in that arc of the story, when he was assassin and then after that got married, never got explored in the anime. But it did kind of into an OVA series, but never explored into a fully adaptation of the anime TV version. So yeah, like I just said, it never got explored in the anime. The series' lack of focus on these developments ultimately limits the full depth of the characters' arcs. The 90s anime, particularly in its second half, suffered from a filler episodes and constantly pacing which affect the flow of the overall narrative. These fillers, often from the manga story, were intended to stretch the series out and prevent it from the catching up to the manga, but they disrupted to the continuation and tone, leaving the anime feeling uneven. Fans felt that this filler content distracted from the build-up to the more impactful moments that was still to come into the Jinchuku arc. But in the end, in the 1990s, Rurouni Kenshin anime's missed potential lies in its incomplete adaptation of the Jinchuku arc, which would have offered further character development, thematic depth, and emotional resolution to Kenshin's story. By cutting off before this pivotal arc, the anime left fans with unresolved plotlines, incomplete character development, and a lack of thematic closure, preventing the series from reaching its full potential as a complete narrative. Now to number 3, we're going to move on to a franchise we all known for years and everyone says it's a beloved, and that would be Inuyasha. Why? Why did I choose Inuyasha? Well, we all know that the main series is finished, but why I want to see it to continue? Well, 2 things. 2 feature films I would like to see. In between up to the events of the main series and in the middle of Yashihime. So let me explain about those. So one of them is the biggest missed opportunity lies in a lack of significant character development for key characters after the main series of Inuyasha conclude. So I would like to see, in between from Yashihime and the final moments of the final act episodes, see, I don't know, like, around the end of the original series ended with Inuyasha and Kagome's relationship having reached a critical point, but there is a little exploration of how their lives progress after the series. That's what I would like to see, how Inuyasha and Kagome are doing, and what the threat is going to happen in between. So, there you go. And then with the Yashihime movie, I would see a continuation focusing on the daughters of Inuyasha and Shishomaru, Morha, Sensuna, and Toa. Without giving a proper attention to Inuyasha and Kagome's growth as adults, fans miss seeing more of Inuyasha's evolution from a conflict, emotional, distant character into a more settled figure, as well as Kagome's further integration into Sengoku era and her relationship with Inuyasha. Yashihime introducing an exciting new generation of characters, but it struggles to address key unresolved elements from the original series, particularly around the main villains like Naraku and the various loose ends in the Inuyasha universe. The films and the sequel series don't fully captivate on the opportunity to tie up these arcs. Yashihime could have developed deeper into how the events of the original series impacted the world of the half-demons, how the characters dealt with the legacies and the consequences of the battles fought. Additionally, Yashihime occasionally varies into new conflicts that could have been tied more strongly to the aftermath of the original Inuyasha series. However, in summary, Inuyasha and its continuation, Yashihime, and the films missed several key opportunities to deepen character developments, explore the further of the aftermath of the original series, and provide more emotional closure, the absence of a strong focus on the original characters' post-series growth. The rushed pace, underdeveloped antagonists and lacks of exploration of themes like legacy and redemption left many fans feeling that there's a full potential of the Inuyasha universe had yet to be resolved. But it never realized. But it is what it is and what they chose. Now we move on to two of my favorite franchises, but let's talk about this one first. The second last one will be the king of games, known as Yu-Gi-Moto in Yu-Gi-Oh! Of course, there's a few missed opportunities, but I would like to share with you all, and I'll give a few on that. So I want to start off with a remake. The original Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime 1998 to 2004. Yes, I am particularly mentioning about the 1998 series that was produced by Toei Animation, and then the Duel Master series that came out from 2000 to 2004. So, primarily adapts the Duelist Kingdom and the Battle City arcs. But the manga delves much deeper into the backstory and significance of the Millennium items. Yugi's alter ego, or attempt, that's they call them in the Japanese and the dub and the manga, of course. And with the various character motivations. A reboot or a remake could have explored these elements in much greater detail, giving more context to the ancient Egyptian past, the origins of the Millennium Puzzle, and the significance of the duel monsters themselves. The original anime schemed through a lot of these narrative threads, which left fans wanting more exploration of Yugi's bond with Attempt, the spirit of the Pharaoh. The original Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime was, while exciting and engaging, was told primarily for a younger audience. However, the story includes several darker moments and more mature themes, such as trauma, revenge, death, and a consequence of power, that were often downplayed or alternate to fit more a family-friendly tone. A reboot with a more mature approach could have deepened the psychological and physiological aspects of the show, particularly with regards to the nature of the Duel Monsters game and the characters' personal growth. Fans of the manga and the early parts of the story could have particularly a notch exploration of these themes. I hope they will adapt it one day. However, a Yu-Gi-Oh! Reboot or a remake had a potential to significantly enhance the storytelling, character development, and thematic exploration of the series. However, by sticking to a familiar structure of the original anime without fully addressing these missed opportunities, the reboot felt short of living up to the series' full potential. Okay, a second idea will be a potential for Yu-Gi-Oh! R anime. The anime adaptation of Yu-Gi-Oh! R, while a Yu-Gi-Oh! R anime could have strengthened the ties to the original, it also had a potential to stand on its own by adapting the Yu-Gi-Oh! R manga in a unique way. The manga offers a decent storyline focusing on a new antagonist, the mysterious Kiba and his gang, while he's still incorporating the card battles that fans love. An anime based on Yu-Gi-Oh! R could have been a fresh take with new characters and conflicts that didn't necessarily rally on the original series plot. Additionally, the Yu-Gi-Oh! R manga had a slightly different tone than the original. Its styles was more in line with the classic Yu-Gi-Oh! Themes of friendship and rivalry, but it also had particularly to delve deeper into themes of fate and consequences of actions, and the role of destiny, elements that wasn't fully explored in the original. A new adaptation could have allowed the series to evolve in a new direction while staying true to its roots. But in reality, who knows if Yu-Gi-Oh! R anime gets a fully potential adaptation. It could have bridged the gap between the original series and the later spin-offs, while offering its own unique and rich narrative by deepening the connection to the original, exploring unresolved plot threads, focusing on character development, and what could have been a potential for Yu-Gi-Oh! R remains one of the franchise's missed opportunities to further build and upon of a legacy of its original story. A third idea I came up with is a trilogy of films as a Yu-Gi-Oh! Multiverse movie. One of the most exciting aspects of a Yu-Gi-Oh! Multiverse trilogy is a potential to explore and deepen the vast lore of the Yu-Gi-Oh! World. The franchise is built on a rich mythological and historical elements such as the ancient Egyptian origins of the duel monsters, the Millennium items, and the Shadow games. A multiverse concept could explore alternative versions of the duel monsters game across different realities, delving into variation in history and culture that shape how the game and its powerful artifacts involved in those worlds. For an example, the trilogy could reveal a universe where Duel Monsters was never invented or where a completely different game, rooted in an alternate set of ancient artifacts, became a diminishing focus. This would allow for a deeper exploration of the mysteries surrounding the game and its power, and how they transcend space and time, the potential to explore different interpretations of the Pharaoh's legacy, and how the spirit influence alternative for Yugi and Atem could be incredibly compelling. A multiverse trilogy could present alternative versions of the beloved characters from the original, which would be treating for longtime fans. Imagine a version of Yugi who had never encountered the Millennium Puzzle, or a universe where Kaiba becomes a hero instead of a rival. These alternative characters could have given a unique backstories and arcs that different from their original counterparts, giving fans what new perspectives on familiar characters. The story could show how these alternative Yugis and Kaibas and other familiar characters handle their struggles in entirely different ways. Moreover, this multiverse approach could introduce the possibility of crossovers between characters from different timelines or universes. For initially, we could see a team up between the original Yugi and the characters from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, or even a newer and further series like Vrains, Sevens, or Gold Rush, exploring how different generations of duelists could work together, faces challenges, and discover common goals. The crossover potential would provide endlessly excitement for fans of all ages. A multiverse trilogy would take the Yu-Gi-Oh! Franchise to a larger, more epic scale than ever before. The original series, while having a high stakes, while mainly contained to individual duels and localizing tournaments. A multiverse story, however, it could bring the stakes to a global or even universal level with conflicts spanning an entire realities. It could introduce different factions, both good and evil, who have stakes in maintaining or destroying the multiverse itself. Imagine duels that takes place not just on Earth, but across different planets, dimensions, or even timelines. This epic scope of a multiverse would lead itself to a larger-than-life battles and kind of a high-stake actions that fans expected from a Yu-Gi-Oh! Film. The emotional and physical stakes could be higher than ever before, creating a truly unforgettable cinematic experience. Each of these spin-offs offers unique settings, characters, and narratives, and a multiverse concept could bring them all together into a dimensional story. Fans of these different iterations of Yu-Gi-Oh! Would love to see their favorite characters interact, team up, or even face up against one another in a way that could expand the franchise's reach of storytelling potential. A Yu-Gi-Oh! Multiverse trilogy of films represents a golden opportunity to both expand and elevate the franchise. It could offer a fresh take on the beloved world of Yu-Gi-Oh! While still paying homage to the series' roots. With the right creative direction, this multiverse saga could have taken the Yu-Gi-Oh! Franchise to a new heights, captivating audiences with its depth, innovative, and emotional stakes. Now to my final idea. That will be a potential 2 feature films after the events of the Dark Side of Dimensions. And maybe a reckon of a Yu-Gi-Oh! Finale where Atem stays in the present day. After the events of Yu-Gi-Oh! Dark Side of Dimensions could explore Yugi's growth and independence following Atem's departure, as he grapples with the emotional fallout of their bond, faces a new villain or power struggle within the Duel Monsters world, reconnecting with his friends like Joey, Kaiba, Taya, and the rest of our characters, and delves deeper into a legacy of the Millennium items, all while introducing new duel mechanics, cards, and a young generation of duelists, ultimately culminating in Yugi's realization that while Attempt is gone, their bond and the lessons learned will continue to guide him, providing a fresh yet emotional continuation of the saga. And my other Yu-Gi-Oh! Idea would be, just mentioned, is another potential feature film that will be retconning the finale for Yu-Gi-Oh! Where Attempt stays in the present could explore the emotional and narrative consequences of Attempt's decision to remain with Yugi and his friends, delving into how Attempt adjusts to the modern life while Yugi grapples with his growing independence and an evolving nature of their bond, potentially introducing a new antagonist or challenge tied to the Millennium items or duel monsters, while offering an opportunity for intense duels, deeper character developments, and exploration of Attempt's legacy in the present, ultimately reshaping the franchise's conclusion into a fresh yet emotional reconnection continuation. Now to number 1. Woo, that was so long to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! My other franchise has missed a potential opportunity, and that would be Digimon. Yes, but I'm not talking about adventure, I am talking about Tamers. But hey, what did I say about Digimon Tamers? Well, taking place after the events, giving y'all an example. A potential sequel to Digimon Tamers could have explored the evolving relationship between humans and Digimon, delving into a lasting emotional impact of the Tamers' experience and the continuation growth, particularly as they navigate their complexity of their bonds with their partners in the real world from the digital world was still linked to the real one, while also expanding on the untapped lore of the digital world. It's kind of different sectors and the consequences of the D-Reaper's defeat, potentially introducing new threats, technologies, or tamers from around the globe, as well as discovering new Digi-evolutions, new Digimon, and maybe, I don't know, exploring how the existence of Digimon could change socially, all while reflecting on the emotional struggles and the inner growth of the core characters like Takato, Rika, Henry, and the rest. And they will face a unique personal challenges that could have continued to evolve in this new narrative. But like, I'll give an example because I remember talking about this before with somebody that there was supposed to be a potential sequel for Tamers, like a let's say like a timeline or something taking place after the events of the series, like Runaway Locomon did, but a couple years. And let's say Gilmon and the rest of our Digimon partners stayed with Takato and the rest, and maybe, let's say we see a bigger threat while they're in high school or something, and I don't know, maybe something big, I don't know, like a sequel series or maybe a movie. I don't know. That would be a missed potential opportunity. So, well, that is the end of the topic of the week segment on missed potential sequels in anime. And of course, that is it for the podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please comment, like, and check out more content on the YouTube channel and subscribe if you haven't done it yet. Make sure to hit the notification bell. Take care, stay safe. Until next time, peace.